Hey guys. So this week we're going to talk about some interview do's and don'ts, specifically how to dress, how not to dress for interviews. And then the most important thing is how to answer a lot of questions in the interview process. So first I want to talk to you about dress. Most students are very used to dressing what we call in casual attire. This means it's acceptable for informal functions and school and family events and things like that. Could be blue jeans or even shorts, t-shirts, tennis shoes, sandals, those kinds of things. But this is really like your socializing attire. This is not business attire. And when we talk business attire, we're talking about even like working at a Home Depot or a McDonald's. I had a son that worked for McDonald's and they weren't allowed to wear jeans. They had to have black jeans. They couldn't be blue jeans. It could be black jeans, but they preferred them to wear like either khaki pants, Dockers, or black slacks. So even if you're working at entry level jobs, casual attire is not really appropriate for most of those. So the next level up is what we call business casual. And if you'll notice, even in business casual, no one's wearing jeans. Jeans are just not appropriate really in business. So you might have a sweater, you might have a button-up shirt with short sleeves, maybe a jacket. Ladies, you could be in a skirt or slacks. And this particular Friday outfit is kind of on the most casual side of business casual. It's still appropriate. But that might even be considered too casual in some places of work. A lot of times in places of work, they will say like casual Friday and you can wear jeans, but that really depends on the business. If you're working in retail, that's probably not going to happen. So the final level up is what we call business formal. And this would be slacks, belt. Your belt and your shoes should always match. Ladies, you could wear a skirt, but it has to touch the top of your knee. Anything shorter than that would be considered casual and inappropriate, but you could wear slacks also. A tie, button-up shirt and tie for business formal. This would be more of those management level positions. So you're not the entry level person anymore. Now you're in charge of other people. This is what you would be expected to wear. When you go to interviews, you want to dress for the level of work that you want to achieve within that company. So even if you're showing up to an interview and it's an entry level position that you're interviewing for, you might think about stepping that dress up just a little bit to imply I'm willing to take on management positions also. Okay. So when you do your interviews, make sure you're not in casual. You want to be in at least business casual or casual or business formal clothes. Now, formal would be like a cocktail dress or a prom dress, a tux. You don't want to go that far. That's inappropriate on job interviews also. You don't want to do that. But so those are just some basic levels. Casual is like for school and hanging out with friends and family. Business casual is for retail and entry-level jobs. Business formal is more management positions. And then formal would be a night out or at a special event. Okay, so let's talk about interview questions. So in your Google Classroom, there is a document of sample interview questions, and it looks like this. Now, I've adapted this. What we're going to do at the end of this video is save this document so that it is in your professional portfolio file. I want to encourage you, if you ever have an opportunity to go to a job interview, think about going through these questions and practicing them as if, so maybe you're going for a job at Bishop's Pumpkin Farm. Print this out and practice. Imagine someone is asking you these questions from Bishop's Pumpkin Farm and practice answering them. Okay. Now in this document, if you click here to see instructions, it's probably going to open up some notes for you over here. The mode that I'm in, I don't think it's going to open up those notes. Let me see. Yeah, I don't see it opening up the comments for me, but yours should open up comments if you click on these. So, and those comments are going to tell you this is kind of what the interviewers are looking for. Now, every question you answer, I don't care how it's phrased, every question you answer, you have to think about, how can I convince these people that I am the best for the job? Okay. So when they ask you a question, it might sound like a personal question, and you might be thinking, well, I should answer this on a very personal level. Not necessarily. What you should answer how you should answer it is in a way that can convince them that you are best for the job. Okay. So when they say, tell us about yourself, they don't necessarily want to know that you were born in Billings, Montana, and that your parents got divorced, or, your dog died and that really impacted you. What they want to know is what kind of life events brought you to a point where you are interested in this kind of work. So let's say you're applying for a position at Carl's Jr.'s, and they say, tell me about yourself. You want to say something like, well, I grew up in this area, and I grew up coming here to Carl's Jr.'s, and it really created a lot of great memories for me. And now that I'm in high school and I'm looking for a job, I'd really like to work for a place that meant a lot to me as a kid. Or maybe you say something like, I really appreciate learning about customer service, and I'm looking forward to being able to learn how to offer best customer service for your clients. Okay. What are you passionate about? Now, it's okay to bring in some things that you're really excited about here. Maybe you're a musician. Maybe you love to draw, and those are great things. And you could mention one or two of those things, but really think about, what are the things that you love to do that would make you good for this job? Okay. What attracted you to this job? Now, before you ever go to an interview, you should research the company and find out what is the whole purpose and vision and mission for that company. And then when they ask what attracted you to this job, you want to say, well, I really appreciate the way that Target invests in their community, and it really I wanted to be a part of a company that really gave back to the community, kind of thing. What do you know about our company? Now, some people want to know, did you bother to research and find out what this company is about? Dutch Brothers. There are so many cool things about Dutch Brothers and what they do as far as giving back to the community and customer service. Do some research about that before you interview with them. What do you know about those companies? Do you know if they do work with people in other countries? Or how does someone become an owner of a Dutch Brothers? What's the process there? So think about researching, what can you find out about this company overall? So why are you applying for this position, or why do you want to work here? Again, this is another way that this question is rephrased. They want to know, how much do you really know and care about their company? And remember, you're interviewing for a job because you need to make money. That's your agenda. Everybody knows that. It's not appropriate to say, well, I just need to make money so I can buy an Xbox. I just need to make money so I can buy a car. Employers don't really care. They know you want to make money, but the bottom line is they don't really care. They want to know how you're going to make their business better. So always phrase your answers in a way that says that you are wanting to give to the company, not that you just want to make money. Okay. Why do you think you'd be good at this job? So here's your time to really talk about your skills and abilities, those things that you put on your resume that you say you're really good at. Figure out which of your skills and abilities are going to be the best for working in that place. Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? Now, you've been working on a 10-year plan all year long. You probably do have an image of where you see yourself in 10 years. Now, most of the time, companies will ask in 5 years. So, where do you see yourself in 5 years? They want to know, are you someone who wants to continue to learn and grow and develop new skills? So you might say something like, I would love to consider myself in a position where I'm doing management with your company. So you're saying, I would love to contribute to your business enough that I move up in it. Tell me about your educational background. Now, for most of you, this is going to be high school. But as you grow, you want to be able to talk about your experiences in education. You want to continue to grow and learn, even when you're out of high school. So tell me about your educational background. For now, you're going to tell them, well, I go to Wheatland High School or whatever high school you're at. But you might want to add, and the subjects that I really seem to enjoy and excel at are welding or business or English or math, or you don't have to just talk about where you went to school, but talk about what you enjoyed about that school and what you were good at. A lot of students are really uncomfortable talking about what they're good at, but really the job interview is the one place that you need to be able to confidently tell people, this is what I can do and this is how I can help you. Okay. So what are your strengths? You always want to have 2 or 3 strengths, things that you are really good at, and they probably should have to do with that business. So maybe you're a great musician and a great artist. But if you're applying for a customer service job or a retail job or a fast food job, those things are not going to be valuable to your interviewer. Your interviewer wants to know, what are you good at that's going to help my business? So you might say, I am really comfortable talking to people and helping people figure out what they need, or you might say, I am a really fast thinker on my feet and I'm able to handle a number of different requests at once. So those are some things that a business owner would go, oh, that person would work well with me then. What are your weaknesses? Now, this is a tricky question. Everybody has weaknesses. You do need to be able to say, well, and just have one that you're ready to talk about. You don't need to spill a list of weaknesses. You may feel like you have a list of weaknesses, but you don't need to spill a list of weaknesses. You might say something like, sometimes I commit to too many things and I take on too many responsibilities. And one way that I've learned to adapt to that or to improve in that is to start making lists or to put things on calendars or to check my calendar before I commit to something else. So you might bring up a weakness, but you always want to turn it and show them, this is how I'm working on it and this is how I'm improving. Okay. Why did you leave your last job or any other job that might be on your resume? You never want to say something like, well, the boss was a real jerk. That may have been true, but you never want to be someone who speaks poorly of other people. Okay. It makes you look like a drama queen or drama king. So you might think about saying something like, I found an opportunity to improve my living situation and my financial situation. And as much as I enjoyed learning on that job and as many great skills that I was able to get from that previous job, I just found that this, I would be in a better position if I took this other position that was offered to me, or if maybe you want to expand your skills. And so those would be good reasons for leaving a job. You don't want to, first of all, don't ever get fired from a job. And if you did get fired from a job in an interview, you will probably have to put that on an application. Have you ever been fired from a job? And you need to answer that honestly. But you don't want to say, well, I got fired because, I took a box of paper clips home, and that's kind of like stealing. You don't want to say things like that. That doesn't look good. And you don't want to do things like that either. But you should have an answer that highlights your growth and ability to move into new situations for the better. Okay. May we contact your present or any past employer? Now, you may be in a situation right now where you're looking for another job, but your current employer doesn't know you're looking for another job. And you don't necessarily want them to know that, because they might be considering you for a promotion and you don't know about that. But if they find out that you're looking at other work, they might not offer you that promotion. But if they were to offer you that promotion, it would be more money and you might decide to stay at that job. It's okay to ask an interviewer to not contact your current employer. It's okay to say, my current employer doesn't know that I'm looking for work right now, so I would appreciate you not contacting them. But if you call these references, or if you talk to my supervisor from my previous job, I'm sure they'd be able to answer some questions for you. So it's okay to say, no, please don't contact them, but offer them someone else that they could contact to get a reference for you. What motivates you? Now, most teenagers I know, they want to say food or money. That's not what interviewers are looking for. What motivates you to be a better employee? I usually say something like, I am motivated by working with a team of people who all have the same goal. When I know we all want the same thing, I'm motivated to get us to that goal faster and more efficiently. So think about what on a job would motivate you to do better. Maybe it's, I like to be told once in a while that I'm doing a good job. That's okay. So, saying food or money, that might be true, but that's not necessarily the best answer for an interview. Okay. What are you most proud of? Think of something that you've overcome, or a task that you did that was really difficult and you managed to do it. And then think about what it was that you did that helped you achieve that. Okay. So maybe you had started out your freshman year with really bad grades because you just had trouble adapting to high school. And maybe you had a D in math. And maybe by the end of the first semester, you had worked so hard. You really put in the time. You went to tutoring, you got help, you did all the homework, you made sure that everything was turned in, you retook your tests, you took every opportunity you could to make it better. And by the end of the semester, you got a B, and you're really proud of that. If you were to explain that situation as an employer, that tells me when you're struggling, you don't give up. You figure out what it takes to change the situation and to do better. And I want that in my employees. I want them, when they're struggling, to go get help, to ask the questions, to take an opportunity to do something better. Those are the types of skills that I want in my employees. So think about something that you did that was really difficult and that you achieved. And then think about what it was that you did that got you to achieve that. You didn't give up. You stuck with it. You had grit. Okay. So think about those things. Some employers ask, when would you be able to start working if you offered the job? Now, if you're in a job right now, it is proper business etiquette to give people 2 weeks notice. So, and that's why we had you write a letter of resignation. And we explain there the opportunity to give someone 2 weeks notice. Okay. So if you're in an interview, you might think, what if they want me to start right now? It's okay to say, well, I really would like to give my current employer 2 weeks notice if you offered me this job so I could start in 2 weeks. Now, if you're not working right now, you could say, I am at a spot right now where I could start working for you tomorrow. Or maybe you say in 2 days or something like that. Um, but it's completely appropriate to say, I need to give my current employer 2 weeks notice. And that way, that employer knows that if you ever have to leave them, you're going to be courteous enough to give them those 2 weeks notice also. What salary do you need to earn? Now, this is a little tricky. As a beginning employee and entry level worker, you probably are going to start making around minimum wage. And that's okay. You can say, I realize I'm new in the workforce and I'm willing to come in at an entry level pay. And that's appropriate to say. Once you've had some experience and once you're out and you're paying your own bills, it's okay to do some research and say, okay, so I want to be a graphic designer and I live in the San Francisco area. What do graphic designers in the San Francisco area make? And you do some Google research and California Career Zone and ONET, and you say, okay, beginning salary is here, top salary is here. I'm coming into this position new, so I probably am not going to get top salary. But so think about how much you need to pay your bills. And you can say something like, well, I'm in a position where $50,000 a year would be the absolute minimum that I would be able to take this position for. And it's okay to understand that when you do have a lot of experience in something, it's okay for your price to be a little bit higher. And it's okay for you to say, I have this much experience and I would hope that would be valued to this particular range of salary. So a salary question needs to have some research behind it, and it depends on the industry that you're in also. All right. Describe a time when you showed initiative to go above and beyond what was expected of you. They want to know, are you the type of person that goes above and beyond, or do you just do the minimum amount of work? Being the type of person that goes above and beyond relays a higher level of character. And honestly, as an employer, and I've been one, I've had my own graphic design business and I've hired people. If I have someone that's willing to step it up and do a little bit more than is expected of them, I am much more likely to give that person a raise when I'm evaluating pay or give them a promotion. If I have someone who's only willing to do the absolute minimum that's required of them, I'm probably likely to let them go at some point. So think about a time when you went above and beyond what was expected of you and be able to describe that situation. Okay. Tell me about a time when you made a mistake, or tell me how you dealt with a tough challenge. So what you want to do is maybe talk about a situation where maybe you made an absolute mistake in something. They don't want to know so much about the mistake as much as they want to know, how did you fix it? How did you apologize or make it right in the end? So you might talk about those grades. I started off my high school year having a hard time adapting to the new social life of high school, and my grades started out really bad. But I was able to kind of reorganize myself and reprioritize myself and get my grades up by the end of the semester. Okay, so think about things like that. I actually had a time where I made a mistake on an invoice. An invoice is what you send the client so that they know how much to pay you. And I forgot to put $5,000 worth of work on that invoice. So I don't remember the exact amounts, but the invoice was supposed to be $15,000 and I sent the invoice for only $10,000. What a mistake, because my business now could get shorted $5,000. And I had to figure out a way to fix that. I called the company and I said, I am so sorry. Talk about being willing to apologize for things when you do make a mistake. Would it be all right if I reissued this invoice? And I worked it out. So think about a time when you made a mistake and then tell us about how you fixed that mistake. Okay. Give an example of a goal you set and how you achieved it. So talk about, and I think it was in chapter 8, you set some goals. Think about a time that you set a goal and what you did to achieve that goal. What were the steps that you took to achieve it? Tell me about a time when you didn't agree with an authority figure. There may have been a time when you did not agree with a teacher or with a principal or a vice principal. And there's times when you don't agree with someone, but it's very important the way that you learn to deal with that. Or maybe you didn't agree with your parent on something. Your employer, your future employer wants to know, if you don't agree with me, how are you going to deal with it? Are you going to put me on blast on social media? Or are you going to come and talk it out with me? Okay. And help me see your perspective in it. Those are the kinds of things. And were you able to compromise and create a win-win situation for that? So think about, how would you deal with a situation where you didn't agree with an authority figure? Maybe you haven't had that time yet. Think about, what would you like to do if you didn't agree with an authority figure? Okay. Discuss a situation in which you worked with a group that was not successful. Y'all know you've had this experience at school where someone in the group was not pulling their weight. Talk about how you handled it and what you think you could have done to make it better. Maybe you didn't do that, but now looking back, you think you could have. Give an example of a time that you effectively resolved a conflict. Same kind of thing. They want to know how you deal with difficult situations. Now, this one's a weird one, and I have seen this in some interviews. They ask this weird question like, if you were a movie, what would you be and why? Or if you were a candy bar, what would you be and why? Or if you were an animal, what would you be and why? And I just think this is the most bizarre question you could ask in an interview. What I realized is they don't necessarily want to know that your favorite animal is a dog. What they want to see is, how fast can you think on your feet to align your strengths with what will work with this job. So maybe I'm applying as a manager at Home Depot, and I get this question: what kind of animal would you be and why? I might say, I think I might be like a lion, where I'm quiet and I observe what's going on around me with my pack, with my people. But if there's something happening, I can step up and be the leader. I can be the king of the jungle. I can take leadership and I can help my team succeed. So the goal here is not to tell them what your favorite candy bar is. It's to say, these are my strengths and skills and why. And they want to see kind of how fast you can think on your feet with it. So it might be, if you were a movie genre, I might be an adventure thriller kind of movie. I love mystery. I love figuring out problems and solving problems and fixing them. So I might be a thriller or adventure movie. Maybe it's a candy bar. Oh, I really like Reese's peanut butter cups, because you've got that kind of savory peanut butter and you've got that sweet chocolate. Well, here's the deal. I can be straightforward and direct and get the work done, but I can also be very sweet and very friendly and amicable with other people. So it's a stretch. And this question doesn't come up in a lot of interviews, but I do want to let you know, you might get asked some really weird questions in an interview. But the whole goal of the interview is to sell you for the position, is to highlight your strengths and to convince this person why you're best for the job. So if you always think of it in that perspective, it's going to help you get through the questions. Now, the last question that's asked in just about every position in every interview is, do you have any questions for me? And it would be really easy to say, no, I think I'm good. But here's what I want to challenge you with. I want you to ask I want you to be ready to ask 3 questions in every interview. Now, I want you to be ready to ask them. It may be that during the interview, 1 or 2 of those questions was already answered within the course of the interview. But you want to be ready to ask something. And the reason you want to do that is you want them to know that you're interested in more about this job, that you want to know more, that you have more to do and more to gain in this position. So you want to know more. So some examples of questions you might ask is, what are my opportunities for growth in this position? So you might want to know, how can I move up? Okay. You might ask, can you explain what your company culture is? What is it like to work here? Okay. So they want to know your environment, and you want to know, are you going to fit in? This is also your chance to interview them a little bit. I've been in interviews where they offered me the job, but I really decided I didn't want to work in that job. There was something about it that was not for me, and I could tell. So it was my opportunity to interview them a little bit. You might ask something like, what are my opportunities for moving up in management? What's the hardest part of this job? What do you think I would struggle with the most at this job? And what do you think I would enjoy the most in this job? All of these are great questions to ask. So think about 3 questions. And in this worksheet, I suggest you list 3 questions that you could ask at any job. And be ready to get answers and do some interviewing for that yourself. So here's your assignment. We want you to create this, to go through and let's say you can leave 1 question on each page unanswered, but we want you to try to answer almost all of them. So if there's 1 question on a page that you're like, I just don't know, you can leave 1 question on each page unanswered. Okay. But we want you to give us something. We want you to try to answer these. Then once you're done, you're going to submit it. Okay. You're also going to move it. So let's move. And you want to navigate to your Google Drive, your professional portfolio folder, and you're going to move it there. Okay. Make sure that you submit it. And this is worth big points. I think it's worth like 50 points or something. It's a big one. But this will be a great way for you to practice. Now, when you do your mock interview, if you elect to do that, the questions will be pulled off of this interview worksheet. Okay, so if you've gone through and you've answered these, then you're probably ready to interview for your mock interview. So there you go. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself. Don't be afraid to talk about how good you are, because you're pretty amazing. And just know that Zoom School is always better when you're here. We'll talk to you later. Bye.